Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Farrell, the Worldwide Executive Director for Humanities Team, and welcome to this 15-minute, really very special program with Pierre Pradervan. Pierre is a dear friend of Humanities Team and Global Oneness Day. He created a Global Oneness Day 2016 blessing just for today's program. Let me give him a proper introduction. Pierre Pradervan is an award-winning author of The Gentle Art of Blessing, who has worked for decades in personal development and social justice. His impressive career includes work on nearly every continent, and as a speaker and workshop facilitator, Pierre often gives talks on how to live a more enriched and contented life. Pierre's views are based more on solid experience than shaky theory or theology. In his workshops, he provides personal development tools that empower everyone to find and strengthen their internal anchors. And welcome to Global Oneness Day, Pierre. It's great to have you with us.
Hello, Steve. It's such a joy to be back.
Well, very special to have you here with us on Global Oneness Day. Wow. And you created, Pierre, a blessing just for Global Oneness Day 2016. So,
yes.
Gosh, I thought that might be a great place to start, is with this blessing that you created for this special day.
Okay. I would like to preface it by a few lines from that great Sufi master and poet Hafiz, who wrote, "Look, one gets wings and gifts to the world, music each morning. One turns into such extraordinary light, he actually becomes a sustainer of a whole planet." We bless ourselves in our ability to express the light we truly are at the heart of our being, and thus to become willing tools to uphold, heal, and sustain our beautiful planet. We bless ourselves in our deeper understanding that we are all one, and that my neighbor truly is myself, and vice versa, but also that all living beings are equally my neighbors too. We bless ourselves in our profound yearning to build a win-win world that works for all, animals and plants included, and to never, never give up until that glorious day is here. We bless ourselves in our inspired understanding that all life on earth, all beings, are meshed in the most intricate and miraculous manner, and that our every thought, word, and deed impacts the whole planet far beyond anything we ever imagined possible. We bless ourselves in our desire to become caring stewards and consumers of the planet, with the added intelligence to take the needed steps to do so without a trace of guilt or self-condemnation when we have not met the standards we set up for ourselves. We bless those who, out of greed, envy, or unconscious fear or lack, unconscious fear of lack, suffer this insatiable lust for more, that they may be brought to an understanding that a wise stewardship of the planet will provide true and unending abundance for all. And we bless ourselves that we may replace any anger or condemnation we might have felt for them with the overflowing, caring love that sees them as divine love's children and cherishes their peace as we cherish ours. Finally, may we reach the unshakable trust that He's got the whole wide world in His hands, and that the supreme intelligence, which so lovingly crafted this incredible marvel, this precious little planet, our home, will not allow ignorance, fear, or greed to destroy it, but will guide us through the valley of the shadow of death, to the fertile valleys awaiting us all.
Wow, that's stunning, Pierre. Really stunning. Thank you so much. Wow, really enjoyed that, and I know our listeners are enjoying it as well. That was so powerful and so heartfelt. Thank you so much for creating that blessing.
That's my job.
Really stunning. Thank you. Let's just go then right into things that this blessing speaks to, which is that we are all one. Of course, that's the message of Global Oneness Day. We are all one. Let's live that way, seeing the divine in each other, standing in the shoes of the so-called other. I say so-called because they're really a part of ourself. They're in our larger self. Everybody's a part of this one presence, the divine. And your work, including The Gentle Art of Blessing, your book and your video on YouTube, so powerfully speak to this, the seeing the sacred in life, feeling as part of the divine. And so, Pierre, how would you invite listeners to see that and feel into that in even maybe a deeper way than they do already? Because this is a conscious listening crowd, so everyone, I think, to some extent sees the divine in life. But how can we see that and feel into it in even a deeper way?
Well, Steve, my only honest reply is that sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But I do feel that a non-dual vision of spirituality and the divine helps immensely. At least it gives a firm basis to build upon. And I'd like to explain very briefly this difference between non-dualism and dualism. In the dualistic vision of spirituality, which is that of well over 90% of world religions and spirituality, you have everything goes by two. You have God and man, and life and death, matter and spirit, good and evil, heaven and hell, the past, the future. And God is seen as, or what is called God is seen as throning at the top of a high mountain, and the believer spends his life trying to climb this mountain slowly. In the non-dual vision of things, we are already one with the divine at the top of the mountain, and only the fog prevents us from seeing that we are already there. So this non-dual standpoint is much less challenging. The going is easier than with the dualistic basis. And I think this is so important to realize that our choice of how we see the world is what determines our behavior and our spiritual experience. You mentioned that how do people feel into this sense when you sent me some preparatory questions for this meeting. And so I'm grateful you used the word feel, because it is a feeling for me that is the name of the game. Feeling is the heart and soul of the spiritual life, not correct theology, metaphysical systems, however important they may be. It is essentially on the level of feeling. For me, the basis of my whole vision of things is that all is infinite love and its infinite manifestation. And I'd like to say that this was in great part grounded by an amazing mystical experience I had many years ago coming back from Africa. I was on the board of the largest grassroots peasant organization in the whole continent. And I was at the board meeting in Burkina Faso, and the last day I caught dysentery. And I started working on it spiritually. At that time I didn't take medication at all, and it seemed to have disappeared. And in the evening I went out with friends, and the next day going to the airport it started again. And on the plane I was working with my prayers, my mantras, my spiritual texts. And next to me there was a young unaccompanied boy, and the stewardess taking care of him was so loving with him. And at one moment I felt such an incredible gratitude for this woman. It transformed itself into literally a cosmic gratitude. And then I was thrown into a space outside or drawn into a space outside the plane, outside of time, where there was only love. Love was the only power, presence, cause, effect, reality, substance of the whole universe, and it was felt. The wonderful thing is Pierre Praderman had disappeared completely. The only thing that was left was felt. And for a while, the divine consciousness was my consciousness. I had no sense of a human ego or a brain or a mind functioning. There was only the consciousness of love. And I don't know how long it lasted because I was out of time, but suddenly I was back in my seat. I felt something adjusting, and in 5 seconds the dysentery had disappeared. But the real healing was my vision of love as the basis of absolutely everything in the universe. And that felt love is what counted. And that's where blessing intervenes. Because for me, blessing is, as I've always said, 100% heart energy. And when you start blessing people, some absolutely wonderful things happen. For instance, I've discovered over now close to 30 years I've been blessing, that it develops an incredible sense of compassion for the suffering in the world and of all those encountered. I cannot meet or see a single form of suffering, and that includes animals, of course, and even nature, inanimate objects, like a tree which was completely distorted or burnt, without feeling immense compassion. It is instantaneous. And so I immediately start blessing that person. It can be someday I have no car, I travel by public transport. Maybe someday I see 15 feet away from me in the bus, and just a glint in this person's eyes, I feel sadness or depression, and I immediately start blessing them. And another thing that has developed over the years is an intense desire for the happiness of every single being on this planet, again, animals included. And this includes dictators, child rapists, mafia gangsters, and every single being. I have such a deep desire for their profound happiness, because somewhere, again, we are all one. The happiness of my neighbor is my happiness, and vice versa. So these are two. It is a two.
Yeah. Oh, Pierre, my God, so beautifully stated, and oh my gosh, what a just beautiful healing message to bring into Global Oneness Day. And I want to thank you so much for creating this blessing just for Global Oneness Day, and then for just sharing how you look out on the world and how this how you bless people on a day-to-day basis and bless all of life. It is just so incredibly inspiring. Thank you so much, Pierre. And next up, let me just share what is coming next here. Next up is this, it's called Spirituality Process of Going Within panel. And this panel includes Patricia Cota-Robles, Matt Kahn, and Kenji Kimura. I'm the moderator. This panel will speak explicitly to the process of accessing the divine within. It's always one of the most exciting and well-attended panels during Global Oneness Day. You definitely won't want to miss this panel. I want to thank you one more time, Pierre. Thank you.
Could I finish with a very brief story? If you can cut it out if it's too much.
Yeah, we just to stay on time. Actually, we've got we need to segue, but we'll bring you back here soon. I promise. Pierre Pradervan is just an incredible guest. He's a part of Humanities Team programs on a regular basis. Before we go to our next program, we're going to enjoy a oneness moment and then experience 10 seconds of silence so we may connect with the divine within and each other. Let's begin our oneness moment now.